We would give our undying friendship to the listener if the listener would just grant us a small favor and join us here on
The
Godfather
Godfather
Minute.
Minute.
My name is Alex Robinson,
And I'm Andy Robinson.
and together we are the Godfather Minute, where we talk about the movie The Godfather, Minute, 1972. 1 minute at a time. Well, we pick a minute of the movie. Let me explain it to you, just in case you don't understand the concept so
Wait,
far.
do you mean explain it to me?
You and the listener, in case they're still not clear on certain details.
Yeah, because I had a few questions, and
Okay.
maybe this will clear it up.
Well, here's the way it's ideally supposed to work. We take a random minute of The Godfather. We and we can only limit ourselves to discussing what happens in that minute. We can talk about behind the scenes stuff. We could talk about the characters, things we like, things we didn't. You know, you're looking at me kind of confused.
That's not at all. That has not been my vision.
Really?
And I don't feel like that's what we've been doing. We
Huh.
may have to go back and start from scratch. Maybe
right.
we should only do one every 2 weeks. So we
That's me.
to
You
make
think-
sure we get it right.
You think we're just stampeding through it? That's
yeah,
the problem.
I mean, why
Okay.
rush?
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
Yeah.
Don Corleone would have taken his time making
Yeah,
these
what does
kinds
he
of
say?
decisions.
Take your friends,
Friends
slow,
slow,
and your enemies slower. So anyway, yeah, okay. We'll have a show. We'll have a post show discussion about that to
Yeah.
see if we want to go every bi-weekly. I guess that would
Okay.
be.
Yeah.
So anyway, so now at least we'll talk about minute 29 of The Godfather.
Wow, we're already up to 29.
29.
Do you know how to say that in Italian yet, Alex?
Minuto numero 29.
Almost. You got 20 of it. 29.
29. That's easy to
Nove.
remember.
And you've seen 9 twice already.
29.
Yeah. E minuto?
E minuto numero 29.
You got it. Bravo, bravo.
I think I'm gonna try to. I think I'm at the point now where I can speak fluent Sicilian. If I went
Okay.
to Sicily, you drop me down anywhere, I could find my way back home.
Drop you off with nothing but a pair of boxer shorts and a toothbrush, and you can make your way back to America, a rich
Pair
man.
of boxers, a toothbrush, 3 oranges, and an airline ticket. Those are all I need.
Okay, this may be bonus content material, but I just thought of a great question. If you were to get dropped off in Sicily, you, Alex Robinson, present day,
Me.
You.
Me. You talking about me?
what 4 items would you want in order for you to become head of a mafia crime family? You only get to
Now,
pick 4 to start.
Am I nude except for the 4 items, or
Correct.
am I wearing? Oh,
You're correct.
Well, in that case, I will take I'll probably just take a briefcase.
Oh, really? What's in the briefcase?
Well, it doesn't matter. One man with a briefcase can steal more than 100 men with
Nice.
guns.
I guess that's how Sonny found Tom in the street. Just nothing but a briefcase and a box of shorts.
Dreaming of going to see a Woltz picture. So we're talking about minute 29, and it starts off with our old friend Tom Hagen, and he's strolling around, going to stage 7 of Woltz International.
Do you think he went right there? Right to stage 7?
No.
No, you think he ambled about?
I think he clearly is a movie buff, as we find out at the end of the upcoming scene. So I think he took a chance and walked around.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's an interesting story. I was visiting Hollywood. Hollywood with a story. This part of the story.
Hollywood
California.
Land.
Hollywood Land.
As it
That's
was
true.
called.
No, we were there. It was just Hollywood.
Oh, okay.
The land was all gone by that point. And we got to go on the 20th Century Fox lot. I was meeting someone there for nothing related to a TV show or anything. And I'll say we were visiting the Simpsons offices because anyway. So and then after we finished our business there, he was like, "Oh yeah, so you can just go out." And we were walking out towards like the main gate, and I was like, "We got to walk around while we're here because it's like a Hollywood lot like this.
Totally,
it's like, big buildings,
Different
and,
sets,
movie
movie stars.
There was nothing was being filmed while we were
Oh.
there because it was just I guess a lot of stuff they don't use the studio lots for anymore.
Is it like the stereotype though, where you've got different sets and different warehouses ready to go? Did you see those?
There probably are, but all the doors were. There was no. We didn't bump into anyone walking. It wasn't like there was like a guy in a cowboy outfit walking around and an astronaut and a gangster or anything like that. It was just us walking around. But anyway, it was still fun.
I guess they have to have that stuff locked up these days, or else you have all kinds of crazies.
A lot of money in them props.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yes, I think he probably strolled around. Mm-hmm. I think they should do an extended director's cut where you see Tom walking around and like, oh, look, there's Alfred Hitchcock. Yeah. Oh my gosh, look, it's Victor Mature. All these obscure celebrities that no one knows who they are anymore.
What you don't see in The Godfather are all those scenes cut out where Hagen goes and talks to producers to all these other films to try to get Johnny parts in all these other films, because he knows it's a long shot getting him this role with Woltz. So he's like, maybe I can get him in a Disney picture or some 2-bit horror film.
Or maybe to hedge his bets, he did get Johnny parts in all those. So if you went to the movies in 1946, like Johnny Fontaine showed up everywhere in those movies.
It's great.
Like a children's animated cartoon.
Yeah. Or maybe Tom was trying to get jobs for himself, because now, as we talked about last time, he's officially the consigliere. After the wedding scene, the Don said, "You are now the consigliere," and now he's maybe having second thoughts.
So you think at this point he knows he's the consigliere?
Oh, he definitely does.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't remember if I talked about that, but it's clearly in the book where when Jenko dies, the Don makes
right
him,
on the spot. He's like, he makes Tom kill him to become the next smothers of the film.
Now you're wartime consigliere.
One more thing you gotta do for me. Kill him.
All right, but I'll talk a little bit later about what that means for Tom's mindset going into this first true mission as the real consigliere.
I think we talked about that. You were saying that he knew that this could not fail.
Exactly.
So
there is a little bit of background information. I would like to reference the book. Not that the book is different than the movie, but
so are you saying the book is the same as the movie?
In some ways. I guess I got to record that now too. The book is maybe we'll just overdub. The book is the same as the movie. I'll work on that. So many musical things to work on.
Mm-hmm. By the time we get to the end of Godfather 3, this thing is going to be wall-to-wall jingles, because everything we're talking about Michael Corleone, play the Michael Corleone theme.
Yeah. So Tom flies directly to L.A.
Tom flies when you're having fun.
And in the book, on page 49, Puzo writes, it was late Sunday night before Tom Hagen could kiss his wife goodbye and drive out to the airport with his special number one priority, a grateful gift from a Pentagon staff general officer. He had no trouble getting on a plane to Los Angeles.
All right, so what was
that was all in parentheses.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing he had some type of, quote, special number one priority, end quote, status because he knew a Pentagon.
Is it on a government plane?
It's not clear. I have the same question. It doesn't look like it when it lands. It doesn't look like a military plane.
Maybe the military has like a certain thing where they can, a certain number of seats on a plane, they could say, listen, this guy needs to go because this is, Pentagon business.
Yeah, maybe for officers that need to go to meetings around the country. Yeah. That's what I thought it was.
Yeah. Also, airline travel was a lot different back then because you had to be pretty wealthy, and it's not like you'd go to the airport and there'd be thousands of people there. It was this was before it was a common thing.
Yeah. And Puzo writes that Tom drinks not only one but 2 martinis on the plane.
Oh, no, that's interesting because I would have assumed that the plane ride would take, like, it's a propeller plane, as we see. Assuming the plane we saw last week is the plane Tom is on.
Yeah,
it's not necessarily true, but
could just be stock footage.
Yeah, but in any case, I don't think there were commercial jets at this time, so you're probably flying across with a propeller plane. I imagine that would take a bit longer than. Nowadays it takes 6 hours. I can see drinking 2 martinis over 6 hours, but 2 martinis over 6 days?
Yeah, that's spaced out quite a bit.
Yeah, maybe they meant he only drank 2 martinis. Yeah. He probably had a stopover in like Sioux City and
I guess
stops in Vegas, visits his friend Mo Green.
His friend Mo Green, yeah.
Visits Fredo's little
I could have sworn there was something in the book about. I'm going to have to go back and reference the actual plane trip, but I think you're right. I don't think they could have had direct flights back then.
Yeah, it seems unlikely. I mean, you might have had to stop like 10 times.
Well, this is mid or late 40s.
Yeah, so 1946, I think.
Yeah, and well, didn't planes fly from the East Coast America across the Atlantic to England at that point? And that's definitely longer than a trip to L.A.
I don't know if they did at that point.
How would they get planes? Maybe it was all ships, boats?
I think so, or they built them in... Because I know when in World War II, it was an issue of like they would send a bomber in to bomb, but they had and it had just enough fuel where it could get back.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll have to look. I'm sure some airline historian is listening to this and he's like gnashing his teeth right now.
Yeah.
We're all like, duh, they didn't have jets back then. It's like, you forgot about the experimental XP-38.
Oh, no, what you don't know, Alex, this is Hollywood, New Jersey.
Oh.
Yeah, you didn't know there was a budding film industry right across the river.
The Hollywood land sign should have tipped me off.
What a wimp. Tom's all like, when am I going to Hollywood? He's all complaining he has to go take a plane 20 minutes across the river.
Pounding his 2 martinis.
He's definitely an alcoholic if he pounds 2 martinis a 20-minute flight. So I talked about this a little bit before, but Puzo also writes about the importance of this mission. I think it's important to mission to talk about this because you really don't get this in the movie, and there's a little stress on Tom the Hatchet Man Hagen. Tom realized that his career as consigliere would be seriously affected by the success or failure of this mission. Mm-hmm. By family business standards, whether Johnny Fontaine got his coveted part in the war movie or did not was a minor matter.
It's true.
Far more important was the meeting Hagen had set up with Virgil Sollazzo the following Friday. But Hagen knew that to the Don, both were of equal importance, which settled the matter for any good consigliere.
It's true.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
So matters of business and personal matters carry the same weight in the Don's world.
Well, if it's a personal matter that his personal matter. Yeah, Paulie takes a day off because he has a cold. I don't think they take too kindly to that.
Paulie won't see him no more. Hey, by the way, I do have a special musical surprise. I've been planning it for several minutes, and I mean podcast minutes, which translates into a couple weeks, maybe.
Feels like years.
So I'm not sure when to lay it on you, but I want to lay it on you this episode.
So you are sure when to lay it on me?
Well, sometime this episode. Okay. Should we wait until the end of the content and then I'll bust it out? Maybe keep it'll tease our readers, and I'll give you a hint. Here's a little teaser. Mm-hmm. It has to do with Paulie Gatto.
What?
Yeah, it does.
Oh, we won't be hearing him no more. Well, speaking of teasing, we should also mention that in today's bonus content, I will be discussing, longtime listeners will remember I read The Sicilian.
Alex just used air quotes, by the way.
By Mario Puzo. And I've now started reading the next book, Omerta.
Omerta.
Yes, the next Godfather book by Mario Puzo. So if you want to hear that, then go to Star Wars Minute. Go to godfatherminute.com/support. Sign up, and you'll get to hear that. It was less than $1 a show.
And we appreciate all your support for all of you.
We do. Yes, that
all
goes
you fans who are supporting us. We greatly
just listening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
So
let's
anyway.
do the musical surprise maybe toward the end.
Yeah, right before.
Yeah.
Okay.
But remind me, it's pretty darn good.
I forget.
So that's it for the background leading up to the scene. So
Now the foreground.
And Alex, I don't know about you, but I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting for this Woltz scene a long time.
For a while.
For quite a while.
Yeah, he goes to Hollywood, and
Hollywood.
and we see
Tom Hagen goes to Hollywood.
it's the backdoor pilot right there.
I think we already came up with him, Tom trying to get Johnny all these other parts. The whole sitcom, every episode is him going to a different film company trying to get Johnny parts. Anyway.
So we see Jack Woltz.
Jack Woltz.
He's busy talking with other people and so on, and
it is 10 in the morning. As we mentioned earlier in the minute, Tom Hagen thought that was a bad sign. He was scheduled the first thing in the morning.
Plus, he was so wasted from all those martinis.
Oh,
He was like, I'm not sober yet.
Yeah.
I had some information about the actor who played Jack Woltz.
Oh, awesome.
But I neglected to write his name down, of all things. So give me a second while I look this up. And you want to go ahead with something? Well, vamp for a minute?
Sure. Well, you're going to talk about the actor.
Anything about the character that you can tell us that we don't know from
I actually have quite a bit about the background that's from the book. Mm-hmm. Is now the time to do it? Or I actually plan to talk about it next minute because next minute's a little slower.
Well, it's good because I found some.
Wow, that was fast. How'd you learn his name so fast?
I have this thing. It's called a smartphone.
What do you mean?
It's you can basically look up. It's like a magical thing. You get any information you need at any point.
Oh boy, I still use my Encyclopedia Britannicas. And I have it dog-eared under the WO, so I can quickly reference Woltz.
Everyone teases the encyclopedias, but once this whole digital thing collapses and all digital content is erased, you're going to be running back to those encyclopediae. John Morley is the actor's name. Did
you say Morley with an M?
Morley. Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry, Marley.
Marley.
Like Jacob Marley or Ziggy Marley. That's right, yeah.
Don't worry about the film.
He was so horrified by what happened that he retired from the movie business and moved to Jamaica. And took off a whole new career after
It's going to be produced without Johnny Fontaine. Go on.
He was in 1906. He lived from 1907 to 1984.
Okay. 1907.
07, yeah. Wow. So he would have been, late 60s, I guess, at this point.
Yeah.
He was in over 150 films and television programs.
Gosh.
Certainly not going to list them all. Basically, he was on every drama that was on TV from like the 1960s and 70s, like Kojak and Bonanza and all the Hawaii Five-0, all those kind of shows that were around then.
I don't recall ever seeing him anywhere else besides Godfather. What would be the next biggest thing he was in?
Well, I wrote down he was in the movie called Love Story. Which,
I never saw it, but I recognize it.
And he was nominated for a Best Supporting Actor and got a Golden Globe nomination for Best Supporting Actor from that movie. So I've never seen it either.
Love Story?
Love Story.
Is that about his relationship with the girl that Johnny Fontaine stole from him? And just to show I'm not a hard ass, it was a love story. He was perfect.
It wasn't a dollars and cents story. It was a love story. That was a movie that was very big at the time, but now seems like it's kind of forgotten to history. Have you ever heard the expression "love means never having to say you're sorry"?
Yes,
that is from the movie Love Story.
Really?
That was their catchphrase.
Oh, fascinating.
In that movie. So
I remember when I was living a few years ago in the Bronx, our native borough of New York City. Some friends and I biked down to Bryant Park on 42nd Street because it was in the summer and they were showing a Love Story in the park, and we were like, oh, let's just go and bike and who knows. And we got there and didn't watch it because it was just so crowded.
Yeah.
So we just biked around.
Yeah.
Never got to see it.
I wonder if it holds up.
No. Have you seen it?
No, I've never seen it.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't. It's like, I think the premise of it is this couple falls in love, the girl gets some disease and slowly dies throughout the movie.
Oh, boy.
So I think that's kind of like what it was.
Yeah. I'm glad I biked around and didn't stay.
So some other things that he was in. He was in a movie called The Greatest Heroes of the Bible, in which he played Moses, if you can believe it. It's so funny to imagine with his New York accent. Let my people go.
Yeah.
And just to show you, it's not all about golden calves and tablets.
He hears the voice from God. He's like, all right, start talking.
Listen here, my Hebrew friend. He was in a Twilight Zone episode, Kick the Can.
Oh,
that's the one where all the old people. I only know it from the remake that was in the movie. And
interesting.
And he was also in the movie Hoopa.
Oh, okay.
Where he played a movie mogul who was friendly and played a kindly father figure to stuntman Burt Reynolds.
My gosh. So all of these roles were building up to this one.
Although some of these might have been after he might have been typecast as a movie. The only one I can think of that we might have seen is he was on the television program The Incredible Hulk, where he played David Banner's father.
Interesting. So, that may be the closest to me having seen him.
I don't think recall, I've seen any of that other stuff, but being kids, we were both Hulk fans.
Yeah.
Although,
when was the Hulk? When was that show filmed? Was that late-ish 70s?
Yeah, I'm going to say maybe 77 through 80-ish. Maybe.
So that was a little bit after The Godfather.
Yeah.
So he would have looked the same.
More or less the same, yeah. But also keep in mind that when we were watching the Hulk, we pretty much were only interested in the scenes with the Hulk. So if it was a scene where David Banner's having a reconciliation with his father, we weren't going to be interested in that. We would have been tuned out. But
let me tell you something, you green pumped up little freak.
My green steroid friend.
Yeah, I ain't no green monster.
I heard about your little gamma ray experiment. So there you go. So that's some the information I have about him.
That's great.
I feel like they don't. They feel like they don't make actors like this anymore.
What do you mean?
Like, in general, if you look through pictures of people like in the 30s and the 40s, not that this is not in the 30s and 40s, obviously, but it's in the 70s, which is still 40 years ago now. People don't look the same as they did in olden times.
Yeah.
Like if you look through a yearbook from like 1935, like there's no one you look at and go, yeah, I could see that person walking around today. I mean, granted the hairstyles and fashions and stuff, but I mean, physically people look different.
Yeah, they really do.
And I don't know if it was just like, they were there was a wave of immigration. So it was a lot of like people who were more purely their ethnic group. So features like that would tend to be more prominent than they are now, that everyone's a lot more mixed together. But anyway.
So you're saying, what's the Woltz's actors? I want to really honor
Jack Marley.
Him. Jack Marley.
Yeah.
You're saying there's no one really that has his look anymore?
Well, I feel like this movie particularly has a lot of actors who have a certain look. Like even Sollozzo too. He looks like a certain kind of like, Anyway.
Yeah. Interesting.
So anyway, did you want to say anything else about Jack Marley?
Oh, no. Next minute, I'm going to talk more about the character, some of his background.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I think it's better to wait because we're going to get right into this interaction. And then maybe we'll reveal some of the background that kind of
you have to
explains why he's such a badass.
Yeah, you have to really pace yourselves when you're doing these minute shows because you don't want to spill it all out in the first time you see him and then totally talk.
Well, I think it's also good or commentary or storytelling where we first talk about their interaction and then also, by the way, he's such a badass because of this.
Yeah.
But I do have more in the book about this a little bit preceding this interaction. So Puzo writes that Don Corleone and Johnny Fontane had coached Tom Hagen before he went out to Hollywood to really prepare him for his meeting with...
Like an acting coach.
Well, not really, not coaching his approach, but just, I don't know what you call it, and informing and giving him as much information as possible about Woltz.
Oh, okay.
So that he could do his job.
A dossier. That makes sense. I imagine Tom's he's not a wartime concierge, but I think he's thorough with his
so it's really interesting. On page 50, Puzo writes, both the Don and Johnny had briefed him on the character of the movie producer, Jack Woltz. From everything that Johnny said, Hagen knew he would never be able to persuade Woltz. But he also had no doubt whatsoever that the Don would keep his promise to Johnny. His own role was that of negotiator and contact.
Oh, so...
Isn't that interesting? So he knew it was doomed.
So I guess that's basically why whenever Jack Woltz is yelling at him, he just kind of takes it in stride, just like, I admire your pictures very much.
Exactly.
He's totally not reacting to it. He knew this was old. He's like, I get to go out to Hollywood, New Jersey, get some sunshine.
Yeah, he does seem kind of down or not down, but just doesn't really care.
Yeah.
Here's my card. I'm here. I'm having a fan of your pictures. I'm going to be across the street at Disney. Just come find me.
Going through the motions.
But Woltz is taking him so seriously. Eventually, he's like, no, really, it's okay. If you don't want to do it, oh, yeah, you're going to muscle me?
Oh, reverse psychology, huh, tough guy? Well, listen to me, you shrinker.
Oh, really, Mr. Woltz, it's okay. My client will understand. Oh, your client, yeah? I ain't no band leader.
He's busting out all his greatest hits right now.
I'm going to make him a counteroffer he can't refuse.
Cartoon. So Tom does say an odd line, which, you see Woltz is like filling out paperwork or something for, on-set business. And then, so Tom says to him, my client would give his undying friendship if
Yeah.
Mr. Woltz, if Mr. Waltz would grant him a small favor.
Yeah.
And then Waltz continues it by saying, "Oh, but what favor would he give Mr. Waltz?"
I had this.
Why are they talking about him like in the third person?
I had the same question. I have a whole bunch of notes here about that. And do you think was it Tom's idea to refer to him in the third person, and Waltz just kind of continues with that?
Yeah, that's what I feel like in Waltz's case, that he went with it because he was like, why is this Goomba Guinea talking to me? And they're like, I'm not here.
Why is he talking to Mr. Waltz in the third
Does
person?
he not know I'm Mr. Waltz? Let me tell you something, pal.
I ain't no band leader. I'm Mr. Waltz. Please tell Mr. Waltz I'm here for another few hours. You're talking to Mr. Waltz.
I bet that's what like Johnny told him. He's like, whenever always talk to him.
That was my other theory, is that when Don Corleone and Johnny were coaching him, they said, "Oh, make sure you talk to him in the third person and make him feel like a bigger man. Like you want to be somewhat deferential. You want to be friendly. You want to make an offer."
First, I thought maybe he was like didn't want to do it because there was someone else that like another minion there, so he didn't want to say like, "Hey, listen." But they walk off together, and he's still it's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the idea that they wrote out like note cards for him. And then so Johnny's note card said, "We would give Mr. Waltz our undying friendship if Mr. Waltz would grant us this small favor." And he just read it as is and not like, he didn't say you or just like,
That's so funny.
He's actually reading the note cards. And I love the fact that when he says, start talking.
Yeah, that's a great line, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, start talking. I'm going to start using that.
So then he says, "Oh, I want you to give Johnny the war picture. You're starting next week." And then Waltz like looks up at the other guy. It's such a funny thing. Like, can you believe this asshole?
It's perfect as a response. He like keeps signing the paper. It's in front of him. He looks up. He just kind of smiles with his pipe in his mouth. He's like,
"Oh, Johnny, you're so see right through you."
I was wondering who that guy was. It looked like some kind of just business guy getting to sign papers.
In the script, he's identified as man. So he's like symbolic of all men.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
A little bit of background too.
About the man?
Well, not about the man, but just some background leading up to this. I may have talked about this last minute. Even though the Don had his power in New York, he had become strong by helping labor leaders. And so the Hollywood union guy, so he had a connection with labor. And so he had his West Coast union guy talk to Waltz and suggested there could be a strike. So Waltz had already had...
This was already in the works.
Yeah, so Waltz was probably ready for this.
Oh, and that's why Tom says, he could help you with your union problem you're having, like as if it's already starting.
Exactly.
Oh, that's good. That's a good...
And so then Waltz puts two and two together. He's like, I've been hearing about this. And so now this is the guy who's delivering that message.
They should have everyone walking around with picket signs
behind Tom
on strike. Unfair.
Tom should have been
very good demands.
Well, Tom should have been leading the strike with a megaphone, like, "No Johnny Fontaine, no movie. No Johnny Fontaine, no movie."
Mr. Waltz would give Mr. Waltz a great favor if Mr. Waltz would give him a part in the picture.
Oh no! Your latest actor has got to go.
Wait, so they're demanding in their strikes is that Johnny gets the part?
That's it. Oh. Yeah, that's how much power the Don has. Once they get it, the union guys are like, "Oh, what do we get?" It was like, "Oh, you go back to work now. We got Johnny a picture." That was it. Hey, ho, ho. That's the chant.
So the order of operations would be the Don says to the labor leaders in California, "Oh, stop," or I guess says to Tom, tell the labor leaders to do, and then so the labor leaders, Tom says, "Hey,
the labor leaders like what?
Yeah, he's like, "Why are we going on strike for those health benefits?" No, Johnny needs a part in this war picture. Like, what?
I told you that weeks ago. Why'd you misinterpret it? So he talks to the labor leader. The labor leader then
goes to the
Waltz.
people and says, does he go to Waltz and say, "Listen, you got to give Johnny a part in this," or does he just say, "Hey man, we're going to go on strike," without being specific? Because the labor leaders couldn't say, we want Johnny to get a part in the picture because it would be so suspicious. Why would the labor leaders care if Johnny's in the picture?
I got the impression it was one guy. It was maybe the labor leader Hollywood guy who Don Corleone knows and has influence over. And he said, hey, get Johnny the part of this picture. So maybe you think the labor leader said, hey, if you were to give Johnny the part in this picture, that would be good. I think so.
See, I feel like the labor leaders were just like, hey, man, we're going to go on strike. And then just setting the stage. And then when Tom comes, he's like, oh, I see what they're, this is all part.
That's when he puts two and two together. Maybe that's why he looks up and smiles at that point.
Right, yeah.
You're right. It probably is that way.
Well, or I was thinking when he looks up at the guy, the other way I could look at it is that he's like embarrassed.
Yeah.
Because here this guy is threatened, like basically issuing part of his threat in front of this other guy. And so the guy's like, haha, like Woltz is like, haha, like laughing, but usually like this son of a bitch is, to come in front of my crew and talk to me like that.
Yeah, exactly. You don't talk to me like that.
So then Tom and so the man leaves, and then Jack and Tom walk through the backstage area.
And that's when they start talking about the sort of implied threats.
Right, the specific. Yeah. So I want to say beautiful cinematography in this scene.
Great.
Like it's lit so where they're walking through and they're both in shadows, but it's all clear what's going on, and then they're silhouetted up against the door like that, and Tom with his hat and everything. It's classic.
It's perfect. You've got that bright light outside. Yeah. It's Hollywood. It's bright. It's fun. It's money. But yet you have these two characters completely silhouetted, dark, doing the shady business just outside of the light.
Yeah,
it's great. True. It's perfect.
And they're in a place where nothing is quite what it seems because they're in the business of creating illusions.
Oh, that's right. Ooh, they're making movies.
Yeah, exactly. So Tom says, so some of the things he says you can help him with are you can help with the union problem, which we've already discussed.
Yeah.
And then one of his stars, what does he say? He's making the transition from marijuana to heroin.
He says, you're going to have some union problems. My client could make them disappear.
Yeah.
Also, one of your top stars has just moved from marijuana to heroin.
The heroin.
And that's when Woltz cuts him off. So one of your top stars has just moved from marijuana to heroin.
All right. So Tom cuts him. So he cuts him off there. If he kept listening, what would Tom have said? And if we'll bring him to a rehab center. And like, what was the connection between this guy being on heroin and like, what could the Don do in that situation?
Oh my gosh! I mean, he could
just get him cheaper heroin.
Well, kind of like what he did to Johnny. He cloistered him in his house. We'll keep you acting in my house for a month. No women, no drugs, no alcohol, no singing, so it's like no acting.
So it really is like a rehab thing he's offering him.
Yeah, the Don Corleone's house fortress is a rehab center.
That's nice.
That's why Michael was always glad that Frankie Pentangeli took over the rehab business. Yeah.
Oh, I would have prepared something, some crack cocaine.
Oh no! So what's the stuff the heroin users use to kick
methadone?
It? Methadone. Actually,
methadone cocktails.
Nice. I have the answer to that question. I often wondered that too until I read the book.
What? All the answers are in the book.
The book elaborates the movie.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And in the book, Hagen says your top male. I can't do a Hagen voice. Help me do a Hagen voice. I guess
now, like 10 years from now, you can just do a line that but he doesn't have a distinctive voice.
I know. Top male star who makes a lot of money for the studio and just graduated from marijuana to heroin.
The heroin.
And my client can guarantee that he won't be able to get any heroin anymore.
Whoa, now that is a reach. Especially since as we're going to find out, he doesn't really have any pull in the heroin community.
No, he wants to keep the drugs out of the schools. Away from out of the neighborhoods. Interesting. So he had to actually keep this guy all dry. I mean, so the guy's going to every. That's some far reach.
But yeah, and it seems
how could you get to every single
impractical?
Yeah, how could you get to every single street dope dealer and say, "Hey, this one guy, don't hook him up."
Well, I guess maybe he doesn't have to go to every street dealer. He just goes to the main distribution point. He goes to like Talia and with a picture of the actor and says, "Distribute this among your men."
But then
Tell 'em-"
Natalia has to make 40 copies and get them to all the actual point people.
He makes 10 copies and gives them to the next layer. He gives them to his Tessio, and then Tessio makes it's like a chain letter. So eventually, the whole city is papered with pictures of the stars saying, "Don't give him heroin." They want to keep it quiet.
Would it be the actor's, what do you call it, face shot, headshot?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Would it be him all smiling, or would it be him all,
It'll be
all
like
strung
movie,
out?
They take a movie poster and unwrap.
And the funny, this would be great. But every time that movie actor goes to one of the dealers, the dealer says, "Sorry, man, I can't hook you up, but would you mind signing my picture?" He ends up signing hundreds of pictures.
It's like when you go to a deli and there's like "do not cash checks" from these people, and there's a picture of Clark Gable all smiling.
Oh, that is so funny.
Or was he going to say he's going to graduate from marijuana to heroin, and we can get him the top best stuff? You would not believe this, man. You would not believe this shit. It is the best. So
that's why he threatens that, or not threatens it, but that's his offer. I can't believe Woltz can refuse this offer.
I don't.
No union problems. His actor, and I'm assuming the actor that Tom is talking about, who's graduating from marijuana and heroin, is not the actor who's going to be in the picture that Johnny wants. It's another actor who's working on other pictures.
Yeah, because that would seem almost an easier way. Well, then even then he wouldn't give Johnny the part. It's not like if they got rid of that actor, Johnny would be next in line because let me tell you something, Johnny Fonstaine's not going to get that part.
And then Woltz cuts him off and says, "Hey, are you trying to muscle me?" In the book, they say he says, "Are you trying to put muscle on me?" A little difference.
Yeah.
Are you trying to muscle me?
I wonder if that was what people used to say, and now it evolved into the kids made it cooler by just saying, "Are you trying to muscle me?"
Yeah.
You know how like generally slang gets shorter. Like people used to say, "Whatever you want to do," but now people just say, "Whatevs."
Yeah, definitely.
That's how it should have ended with Jack Woltz. Whatevs. He walks away. All right, so I guess that wraps up minute 29.
Excellent, excelente, bravo. Well, Alex, I know you've been waiting all episode, maybe all month, but
I'm on the edge of my seat.
Now's the time for the musical surprise. So here it is. It is called the Cannoli Countdown. Hit it.
Countdown. Guns and cannoli. Countdown. Won't be seeing Paulie no more. Paulie betrayed me. He got a cold and then didn't show up to work. I thought Paulie was a good kid, but it turned out he was the stupid jerk. I'm talking about a countdown to guns and cannoli. Countdown. You won't be seeing Paulie no more. You gotta leave the gun to send a clear message, or else you might lose your life. And whatever you do, take that cannoli. Don't upset Clemenza's wife. We're working on a countdown, counting down guns and cannoli. You won't be seeing Paulie no more. How many minutes left? How many minutes left? We're doing the countdown. How many minutes left? How many minutes left, consigliere? How many minutes left? How many minutes left? Come on, Santino. How many minutes?
So it's the Cannoli Countdown, Alex. So
Fantastic.
can you guess how many minutes are left until the...
29?
You're close. It is...
How many?
There are 30 minutes left. Exactly 30 minutes. It happens in episode 59.
Oh, I thought you meant how many minutes were left until we said take the gun, leave the cannoli. So you mean we are 30 minutes away from the cannoli scene.
From the cannoli scene.
Nice.
Yes.
That is cool.
I call it the Cannoli Countdown.
So you can end every episode with that until the cannoli shows
I
up?
mean, we can talk about it. We can do it every episode, or we can do it every other. Or I had a lot of fun making it.
That sounded terrific. You're eventually going to be able to release all these on a triple
on a
album
compilation.
set. Yeah.
You think?
Yeah, vinyl.
Oh boy, I
Gotta
wonder.
vinyl that shit.
Yeah, and I wonder if I'll get muscled out though with the royalties. Paramount, Don Corleone.
That's true.
So 30 minutes left to the famous Paulie, Clemenza, and
So
cannoli
it's
scene.
30 weeks from now.
30 weeks from now.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
we're going to look back at this.
How long is
time.
that? This is like
Almost, it's probably 2/3 of a year.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. We're going to look back at this minute and be, oh, remember how young we were back then?
Oh my gosh.
Woltz showed up. Well, all right then. So
do you want to rate the episode?
Oh, right. I totally forgot about that. Well, we got Jack Woltz, which is good. But he's not really full blown Jack Woltz yet. You get a little bit of it at the end, but he's really at his Jack Woltziest when he's hollering. Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it 3.
Oh, I was gonna give it 4.
4. Okay.
There's something about the entrance to Woltz, Tom's interactions with him.
It's true.
Just classic.
Marijuana to heroin.
Talking about each other in the third person. It's funny. I think it's also a key transition scene. This is really the first thing outside the wedding that you see, outside of the wedding in the office.
It's the first time we see like the sort of the Don's machine in action.
Yeah.
Like actually, working out these favors for everybody. Cool.
So I think that's it for this minute. Do we want to plug all our ways to communicate?
Sure. We're on Twitter at Godfather Minute. We have a Facebook page, which is just Godfather Minute. And we also have Fredo Corleone's Mickey Mouse Nightclub, where you can join up on Facebook. Come talk about your favorite, what your favorite Jack Woltz pictures are.
Isn't there a way for people to email us and give their impressions?
Godfather Minute at gmail.com. We got that last week.
We got it. Yes. Godfather Minute at gmail.com.
Yeah, so send us your MP3s of you saying, is MP3 the best format, or is there better format?
Yeah, MP3 is good.
Or do you want like the highest
or questions?
Quality?
Yeah,
go
whatever.
to a recording studio, record you saying la.
Yeah.
Send us a lossless audio file, and maybe we'll use it on the show.
Yeah, you can send us questions too, or comments, whatever you have to say. Let us know.
Yeah,
start talking.
Yeah, or if you want, if there's something you want us to discuss in the bonus content or whatever, we'll do that too. And so until then, in 30 minutes, you can take the gun, leave the cannoli.